So, good evening everyone. I am here to report about the project SF and about the update the sailing direction, lights, list, radio, signals, and others miscellaneous publication using the correction found in the notice to mariners. So, we have 4 topics for today on our project, and number 1 is the update Admiralty sailing directions, and the second is the update Admiralty list of lights and fog signals, and the next one is update Admiralty list of radio signals, and the last one update other miscellaneous publications. And that is our 4 topic that we will talk about for today's video. So, the first one is how to correct or update Admiralty or sailing directions. So, before using Admiralty sailing directions, the mariners must always, please remember, check that the most recent edition of the volume and its supplement where relevant are held. And the next one is check that all the amendments in Annual Notice to Mariners Part 2 amendments to sailing directions have been applied. And the next one is check that all amendments published at Section 4 of weekly editions of Annual Notices to Mariners Part 2. And the next one is where it is found that the most up-to-date information is not held. The most recent editions of all Admiralty publications can be obtained from Admiralty charts agents, and back copies of weekly editions of Admiralty Notices to Mariners can also be downloaded from the UKHO, and you can look at the websites. But in the new editions to Admiralty sailing directions is the Admiralty sailing directions. Sailing directions are updated by a process of continuous revision, with titles republished as new edition appropriately 3 years intervals. Some volumes indicated in the catalog of Admiralty charts and publication are on extended cycle of approximately 5 years. And the second topic that we will talk about is the how to correct or update Admiralty list of lights and fog signals. System of updating. Each list of lights volume is kept up to a date in continuous revision cycle. This means that it will be continuously revised by its editors for a period of 1 year using information received in the UKHO. It will then be republished as new editions normally in the same month annually. Publication of new edition is announced in part 1 of the weekly editions of Admiralty Notices to Mariners, and I want you to remember that. And the next one is during the life of the book, important safety of life at sea. The SOLAS amendments are issued each week in Section 5 of the weekly edition Admiralty Notice to Mariners. And directions for updating to our second topic is each edition of the Admiralty list of lights and fogs and signals contains the latest information received by the UKHO and supersedes the previous editions. And the next one is the insertion of weekly amendments should be recorded in a table at the front of each volume. The entirely entry for each amendment lights will be printed. Will donate which column contains an amendment. In the case of a new lights, an asterisk will appear under all columns. And remove from the list will be used when a light is withdrawn, and remove fog signal. default is signal is discontinued. And the third topic that we will talk for today is how to correct update Admiralty list of radio signals. So the third topic is about the update Admiralty list of radio signals. So direction for updating each edition of Admiralty list of radio signals contains the latest information received by the UKHO or supersedes in the previous edition. And the second one is the insertion of weekly amendment should be recorded in the table at the front of each volume. And the next one is the weekly edition number is shown on all amendments. The appropriate indexes and the diagram should also be amended if necessary. Colored versions of this may be downloaded from the UKHO website. And the last one is accumulative list of amendments is published quarterly in section 6 of the weekly edition of Admiralty Notice to Mariners and provides a summary list of the entries in the current editions which have been amended. And the last one that we will talk about is how to correct or update the other miscellaneous publications. The miscellaneous updates to charge notice at the beginning of section 2 of the weekly edition of Admiralty Notice to Mariners. Chart limits may be inserted, deleted, or amended in the appropriate index sheet, and the chart numbers and title inserted or deleted on the opposite page in the appropriate place. And the next one is the Mariner's Handbook. I think you are familiar with that. Is kept up to date in a continuous revision cycle. This means that it will be continuously revised by its editor for a period of approximately 5 years using information received in the Hydrographic Office and then republished. And next one, during the life of the book, in the amendment as necessary by NM published weekly in section 4 of Admiralty Notice to Mariners. A checklist of all extant notice but not the text is published quarterly in part 1B of Admiralty Notice to Mariners. And the last one is these amendments will normally be restricted to those critical to the safety of navigation and to information required to be published as a result of changes to national legislation affecting shipping and to port regulation. And that's all on what topic that we will talk about today, the four amendments. And I hope you learned something from me, and I can pass my docs if you need. And thank you, sir.